last few years or so. Just seeing that today just shows us just the breadth of the tributes, not just in England at the Premier League, but around the world over the last few days. Just tells you everything. You don't see that often.
I mean, you know, thinking about it, is he or was he the most famous sporting figure in the world ever? Because the game stretches, of course, all over the planet. He was always the #1, the first superstar in our sport, really. Growing up, you know, you started to fall in love with the game. You knew and you started to see things from Pele, and he was the #1 player for everything that he did for the national team, Brazil, winning 3 World Cups. And he was, you know, the greatest. We've having conversations after that with other players, and Maradona and Cruyff and Messi and Ronaldo and stuff. But he was the original superstar player, and it's a sad day.
And Rob, for people who never saw him play, and most of us didn't, but we've seen clips, why was he seen as the greatest?
Because today we've got social media and we've got video, and we've got lots of recognition of great skills, great things players do. He was doing it all back then, Rebecca. There's a wonderful social media video out there that shows the great turns, the Cruyff turns. He was doing it. The Maradona things, he was doing it. He set a bar that no one else had seen, and we only saw him in the early days every 4 years, every time there was a World Cup. So there's something magical about this guy who came on the scene. He wasn't particularly big, but powerful and skillful, and played with a smile on his face. And they said before he came along, football was just a sport. After he came along, it was entertainment and art. That's how big an influence he had on the football game.
And he spent virtually his whole career in Brazil at Santos FC as a teenager, all the way until the age of 34. Then he moved to the United States and he played for the New York Cosmos. And that was the place that you met him. Not then, of course, but in more recent years. Just tell us about that experience.
Well, I'll let Mussy speak for himself, but certainly we had 5 minutes with him. You know, he had the bodyguards around. He came over. He was so giving. The biggest takeaway I had was the 2 things. One, when he looked you in the eye, you felt like there was nobody else in the room. He was talking to you, the great Pele. The second thing was this infectious smile. We've got a picture. You've seen millions of pictures on social media. He was smiling like he enjoyed your company. Whether he did or he didn't, he had that way of really drawing you in. And there's not many people you get kind of nervous about meeting. He was one of them.